to the Eagle Cap Outdoors channel. I'm Ted, this is Chris. We drew, now what do? That's the question. We drew our tag, now what do? So if you drew a tag and you're trying to figure out, what do I do to get ready for my hunt? We're gonna talk through that.
That's important because some of the things you gotta know is like, you'll have different activities or needs for rifle versus archery, right? So you gotta figure out, well, did you draw a rifle or did you draw archery?
Yeah, so I mean, I at a high level, it's should I get a guide? Should I not get a guide? What type of, is it archery or rifle? Where am I gonna hunt? Am I gonna go horseback? Am I gonna be hiking in, backpacking? Am I going to hunt out of a trailer, which I've done before, or like an RV, right. Or is it a wall tent?
Yeah.
And then what kind of food do I need for my hunt? And what are the conditions? Is it going to be cold? Is it going to be nasty? Obviously, if it's a rifle elk hunt versus an archery elk hunt, it could be totally different weather.
Right.
And
so let me kick it off. Is like, if I drew a tag in an area that I have no idea about, I'm going to look at a guide to help me in that area. Not to be the caller, not to be the hunter, but more of somebody that can show me the area, how it's different than most other areas. I could that, or I've hired an outfitter to do drop hunts, right? So we rode horses in for 8 miles. I've done it twice now, right? Yeah. And 8 miles or so, and then you get dropped off, and then you're in the mountains, right? So that's
one of the most important things from my perspective when I draw a tag. Like, okay, I drew a tag for something, so I need to figure out how am I going to find that something where I'm headed. And so, like you said, the guide, if you have never been there before, a guide can help at least get you into the animals sooner. If you're going to be there a week or 2 weeks, 2 weeks is pretty decent to be able to scout around and find something. If you're only there a week and you've got to spend 3 or 4 days trying to find the elk, that's a problem. And so a guide can help get you on them right away.
Yeah. A lot of it is like when I go into an area or draw an area, I'm trying to figure out, what's the terrain, and then where are the summer grounds for the elk, because I'm an archery guy for elk. So where are the summer grounds, where the bull's going to be backspurred up if it's early in the season. So talk to the biologist, I call the biologist and talk to them. And then my cousin, he's a wildlife biologist, so the first couple seasons that we hunted together way back is he knew how to figure out the areas that where's the feed at in the summer for the elk, where are they going to be feeding and where are they going to winter, so we were able to pinpoint where's the water. And so that's important, is understanding the area, and you can use the guide, or not guide, but the biologists in the units generally.
So I'll use, once I figure out the unit I'm going to be hunting, the first thing I do is I'll try to get maps for that area, either electronically or I used to actually just order a Forest Service map. And if you order it soon enough, you're not having to try to find one on the way there. They'll mail them to you for just a few dollars. But
and nowadays, I mean, you have maps on your phone, right? Your smartphone or your GPS or whatever. That's great. But it's helpful to have a map, a big map that you can lay out, because my family knows I'll pull maps out and I'll be looking at them on the table and trying to figure out stuff. And I have my maps on my phone, but a big map is still part of my game.
Yeah. The other thing I'll do, once I know where I'm going, is I'll start putting in, I'll search on the internet for people who have hunted that same area, that same unit. Maybe they've even hunted it rifle, but you'll find comments, and then that'll help you pinpoint maybe generally where they were in the unit, just to get a sense for chatter.
Right.
As far as, you're just trying to find the animals.
Anybody, so they're pretty close-lipped, right?
Yeah.
And so it's tough to get that. So you can generally find somebody that's willing to spill the beans, right? Speaking of beans, one of the other things I consider is food, right? When I'm going in an area, I'm trying to figure out what kind of food. Back in the day, it was, cans of tuna, cans of this, and cans of that, and then we got Mountain House, and then we got all these other options that were great. But I warn you, it's like some of these options, you don't want to follow a guy the next day that's had a big helping of freeze-dried food, because you'll have to divert your walk up and down. Yeah.
So, I mean, obviously, if you're going to be backpacking in,
right,
you're going to have to take dried food and nuts and bars and that kind of stuff. If, on the other hand, you're hunting out of a wall tent, you can have your coolers there.
Sure.
You can have steak and fish and everything else. When we were in our last Oregon hunt, we hunted 7 days and had great food. 5 out of the 7. We would have had filet had you not forgotten the filet.
Dang it! Yeah, totally forgot about that. Yeah, but we did have salmon. That they went salmon fishing before the hunt and caught some salmon, and so we had some fresh salmon. So it was great.
Yeah. Do you worry about things like camo or clothing?
Yeah, it depends on the area. So I'll like to wear a certain camo pattern for a certain area, a certain region. Like Nevada, it's a different camo. Versus Oregon, it's a different terrain, different camo pattern, but we can talk about that.
Yeah, we can get into that on another one.
Yeah. Cool.
So we drew. Now what do? The other thing that you have to do is you have to prepare. So if it's a rifle hunt, you need to start shooting that rifle regularly. If it's a bow hunt, you need to be shooting that bow regularly, because when you get into the heat of the moment and things are happening quickly, you want your shooting to be second nature, or first nature basically. You just want it to happen, because there's going to be so much going on.
Yeah.
And so prep is huge.
That's right. So awesome.
Well, some of these topics we could go into a whole other. We can have a conversation on those, and we will. And so we'll plan on doing that. Just for people that want to dive in a little bit further on how do I e-scout? What are some of the tools? What are some of the approaches you use to e-scout? Or how do I pick a camo pattern?
Right.
I mean, there's a lot of camo out there. How do I know what's right? So we'll go into that detail, and I think that'll be really good. That's a good refresher for us too.
Yep. So some of this stuff is on our YouTube channel, but also on our website, eaglecapoutdoors. We have getting into backpack hunting and etc. So anyway, thanks for watching. Check back in. We'll catch you next time.